Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Letter of Law Interviews. In the 22nd episode of this interview series, I'm absolutely delighted to be in conversation with Mr. Sahil Narang, who is a partner at Khaitan Co. and also an advocate on record at the Supreme Court of India. So thank you so much for taking time out and being here with me today.
Yeah, thanks to you, Sarthak. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I've seen some of your previous recordings, and they are amazing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, to start this off, would you like to introduce yourself a bit to our listeners? The introduction I gave of you is simply, they're just your professional designations, but I'm sure you have a lot more to say about who you are as a person.
Yeah, sure. It's better to put it as simple as it is possible. In any ways, advocates are known to complicate things, so I will try not to complicate it. During our conversation. But as you rightly put, I am a very simple lawyer. An Indian lawyer. I, by chance, by luck, by God's grace, I became a partner in a law firm in India, one of the best law firms, of course. I was also fortunate enough to clear the advocate and record examination of the Supreme Court of India. I think the long and short of the story is that I am a dispute resolution lawyer practicing across various courts in India, including the Supreme Court. But largely my practice is focused towards arbitration right now. Of course, when you ask me that question, how I got into law, I'll tell you that. But this is a very simplistic view of what I do right now.
Yeah. Great. So, sir, let's start from there. How did you get into law?
Yeah. So I think there I'll have to give you a very long story.
Go for
it. So see my father was a lawyer, and I had seen law and law books right from my childhood. But the thing was that my father was practicing in the lowest courts, basically the city civil courts,
right.
In Punjab. And he was not very keen in wanting me to get into law. Probably he knew what are the shortcomings, the long hours that you have to put in, and you have to take care of the other people's worries. You have to bring them home and ponder over it, the whole night, while the other person, the client, sleeps. Probably in his bed, bilkul aaram se. So I think that was his worry and concern. He wanted me to get into something which is of course, according to him, better, like engineering, or so to say, become a doctor. And I indeed tried to follow that path. In 11th and 12th, I did my PCM, physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and I also tried to crack the IIT, where I failed miserably, and I couldn't even clear the prelims. But fortunate enough to clear the AIEEE at that point of time. It was an engineering examination, all India examination, and I got into a college, and I got some, I think, a stream computers there in Punjab. But somewhere, I didn't want to get into engineering. I think. I was always mesmerized by the idea of law, and my father had a dream, to do bar at law at that point of time. But because of some family reasons and because of some issues, he could not go and go to any foreign country, probably, to go and do law. So he wanted, that if I ever do a degree, or a professional degree, or a master's degree, I should go abroad, and I should study abroad. Not specifically law, of course. Law was a no for him. But then he gave me the freedom to choose after engineering, and by that time you also become a bit mature, when you get out, you prepare for examinations, you meet a lot of people. So I my thinking process actually expanded a lot, and I thought, why should I do engineering when I have a mentor at home,
Right.
and I should make use of that. So I enrolled into a graduation, a BA honors program at Chandigarh and DAV College campus. So then I thought that I probably will do civil services alongside, and or I will get into judiciary, the judicial examinations. So that was my aim primarily. And my father still, I remember, during my break I used to come to Abohar.
Okay.
Abohar is a very small town in Punjab, so my father used to practice here, and right now I also am in Abohar. So my father used to tell me, that Sahil, don't come to court, okay? I don't want to teach you. So I was like, hey, it's all right, yeah. I have to do something. I mean, I have to do internships because back then, since I did law from Punjab University Chandigarh campus, the concept of internships and moot courts was actually novel for us.
Hmm.
Although of course, I mean, national law schools, etc., had been there for very long, but we were not exposed to that. Honestly, I
Right.
was not exposed to that at that point of time. And I mean, see, I mean, you can think about it. My father was a lawyer, but he didn't know that there was a national law school, and where we could go after our 12th
Right.
and do a 5-year course and save our 1 year. So that concept we were not aware, and the only thing was that we will do law, and we will either become a judge or a civil servant, or we will probably uh, you know go into practice. So that was the whole thing. But my
Right.
father wanted, if at all I would go into law, then I should not practice here, but I should practice at Chandigarh in the
Hmm.
High Court, and where he wanted to practice, originally. So I
Right.
think that was the thing which he had in mind, and I would say that it was a sudden decision, rather than a very calculative decision, so to say, that I will certainly do law.
Right.
That from the very starting, people say na ki, oh, I had this in mind, I'll become a doctor.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was not like that. I wanted to do engineering. I fared really well in engineering, I mean, in my PCM 11th 12th, and then in BA also I was amongst the toppers.
Wow.
Then in law also I was good, uh, but thereafter, I wanted to do masters abroad, but because of some family circumstances, I could not go abroad. My father was not too well, so I thought that I will do something in India.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, there was this exam called the CLAT for
Hmm.
masters LLM.
Yeah.
And I had applied to 6 universities abroad, and most of them were in UK.
Yeah.
None of them were in US, because again, I was not aware of lot many universities in the US. Someone told me about 1 or 2 universities. I applied to those, and many people told me about UK, because UK was very popular back then. And I applied to those universities. I got offers from most of them,
Right.
but because of the circumstances, I could not go there. So I filled the CLAT, the examination. I did that. I gave that examination, and I was fortunate enough to get into Hyderabad, the National Law School, Nalsar,
Right.
in my master's program. So I think that's about it. And I mean, it was by chance that I got into master's program, and I was exposed to a lot more than I was exposed during my graduation
Right.
in law. And I got many opportunities while in Hyderabad.
Interesting.
Although most of them were self-made, or
Hmm.
most of them were self-made. I applied to a lot of places at that time, while in my master's program, and I got rejection from most of them. But again, was fortunate enough to get, I think, about 3 or 4 good internships.
Right.
Uh, and I also did a summer school back then. So I think those were the good things which happened, and uh, ultimately, uh, things worked out really well at Khaitan. I interned there, back then in 2009.
Yeah.
That was my first internship there. And then I got a second, I got an extension, which
Yeah.
was a second internship. I cancelled elsewhere
Yeah.
and I continued at Khaitan Company. And then I got a pre-placement offer from Khaitan.
Wow, that's quite the journey, sir. And I'd like to unpack whatever you've said step by step, starting with
Yes.
your master's program, because in
Mm,
law school, that's a constant debate. If a person wants to litigate, it is often said, "Why are you doing an LLM? You're just wasting an year. You get right into it." Since I'm not very sure about what's the understanding or thinking with regard to firms, what do you think, sir? Do you think a
mm.
master's degree contributes to a person's professional career, or is it an intellectually stimulating degree that one should do without considerations of any career progressions?
Mm. So I think that's a very good question. So I look at it from two perspectives, right? One is the India versus foreign debate,
Yeah.
right? Whether you should do an Indian LLM or a foreign. Second is that if at all you do an LLM, I mean, whether it is good for you, not good for you, right? So, I mean, looking at it from my perspective, back then things were a little different,
Yeah.
and I did not have many opportunities or options back then, and masters was, you know, another way for me to be busy, to learn a new skill, and not waste my years while I'm preparing, say, for judicial services or for civil services. I think that was the way. uh, and of course, I mean, to your question, whether it stimulates your thinking, or your skill set, it certainly does. It certainly improves your skill set, because I mean, so I'll give an example, because I know about Nalsar, Hyderabad, and
Yeah.
I had a few friends from other national law schools while I was doing masters. So all of them spoke to me about the quality of education that these institutions have,
Right.
and I got that first hand experience, where there were amazing teachers who used to teach us without any paper.
Wow.
They used to teach us for an hour or 2 hours, right, at a stretch.
Right.
uh, and they used to talk a lot of sense. uh, so one such example was, when I was in masters, Professor Irabi was there. He used to teach us comparative constitution,
Wow.
and the way he used to compare the constitutional provisions, and he used to explain the provisions of the US Constitution, it was amazing. So I think, yes, somewhere I think it is important to have that degree with you, the
Yeah.
master's degree. I mean, it certainly adds value, is what I'm saying. It's not important for everybody. It
Right.
depends on the goal that you have. uh, but if given a choice, and if I go back in time, I would certainly prefer a master's degree abroad rather
Right.
than an Indian degree,
Yeah.
because I mean, it certainly uh, opens a lot of avenues for you. Your mind opens up quite a lot. You meet a lot of people from different nationalities, and you get a different perspective of
Right.
law. Of course, the subject that you choose is another debate,
Sure.
right? I mean,
Right.
whether you want to go for a dispute resolution course,
Right.
which may not be relevant for India. But yes, if you want to do an international commercial arbitration course, probably that will be better. rather than doing something else, or an investment treaty arbitration law course or something. I mean, so there are different ways by which we can judge. One more point I want to add on this LLM debate. Many people right now, I mean, I spoke about back then. I mean, that was my mindset. Uh, right now, many people are wanting to do masters.
Right.
Many students, because of the COVID period which is
Mm.
happening. You know what? The problem that people are facing is, the students, the freshers are facing is that 2020 March, COVID hits, right? Everything goes, online.
Right.
Offline is over. Internships rarely seen, right?
Right. Right.
Physical internships rarely seen. Yes, beach mein on and off people were doing internships,
Yeah.
but the practical knowledge goes, right? So lawyers, firms do not want to hire you. Okay. So I've seen a lot of people going and doing masters abroad. Second is that I have also seen a lot of people who are working in firms and, with lawyers or, senior advocates. They are preferring to do law in this period.
Wow. Okay.
Many people, I mean, either they have chosen to do masters, or they have chosen to go for an alternative career because of the COVID pandemic. Because COVID pandemic has actually taught us the reality of life.
Yeah.
It has taught us how small we are in this whole universe, right? Today, all of us are sitting, in our homes virtually, having this conversation,
Sure.
right? Both of us are having this conversation online rather than offline, is because of one small virus, of course, which has created this mess for all of us.
Right.
Hopefully
Right.
this will be over soon. Hopefully
Yeah.
this will be over soon, is what I'm thinking. But this is how people's perspectives have changed, and therefore many people have thought that masters, pursuing it at this time is a better idea,
Right.
because they are not getting opportunities or avenues, right?
Right.
If you leave your job, you are leaving some, chunk of money
Yeah.
which you are getting, as a salary, or whatever you are earning from your profession. If you are getting clients, you have to lose that and then do a master. So
Yeah.
I think there people are now thinking that it's better to go for masters. Yeah.
That's a very interesting perspective, sir, and we'll talk more about that. But right now, I want to move forward and come to your professional experience. So, sir, like in the beginning, you said that it is by luck and good fortune that you became partner of Khaitan. Now you shared the story of how you got a job of a pre-placement offer. तो आप सर हमें
Yeah.
अपने शुरुआती टाइम के बारे में कुछ बताएं. When you were the associate at Khaitan, what were your experiences like, and how did you eventually move up the ladder and become a partner?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I'll start with my internship days.
Yeah.
So as I told you, I mean, I was in my master's course, and all of us were, lodged in a hostel
Mm.
in Hyderabad. It was uh, a very beautiful campus, and we were lot of us, in different rooms, and we were always on our laptops and sharing information with each other. Okay, where to apply, which are the firms, what are the email IDs that they respond on. I mean, starting with, for 1 month we just applied and got rejections or didn't get any response at all. Mostly there was no response. So but we were lucky enough to, get 3 or 4 reverts from different places. And I think my first internship was with Ministry of Finance, uh, and I interned with the FIPB. There used to be a Foreign Investment Promotion Board, back then, which board was looking after investments into India, which were on the approval route. So you had to seek approval from the government if you had
Okay.
to invest in particular sectors.
Yeah.
So that was the body which used to give approval. So I worked with the director, FIPB, back then for 2 months, and I, assisted in some legal nuances or legal problems that they were facing, as the FIPB and as the Ministry of Finance. So it was also, of course, through proper channels. They sent this thing to to Nalsar,
Right.
their requests for interns, and since bachelor students were not that keen, they were always wanting to go to law firms. So masters students were asked if you would want to go. I said yes, I would want to go. It's one of the opportunities. I've never been to ministry here.
Sure.
I would
Definitely.
really love to go, and I would want to work there.
Yeah.
So again, I was fortunate to get an internship and got a good mentor there. He was, of course, a civil servant, an IS officer, and he guided me a lot back then, and I'm in touch with him today also. So thereafter, I think those 2 months were quite good for me. I used to commute by the DTC buses in Delhi, and many a times take shared autos. You know, so those that was a very good time. So we shared few, like we had taken one or two rooms with our friends, from Nalsar, master students. They were we were staying together in Delhi. So that was the first internship, and I think the second internship was with Khaitan,
Right.
and thereafter I was destined to go to two more law firms, where I had got offers. I got the internship actually with Khaitan Co, Bombay,
Okay.
and of course no one knows about it. This is the first time I'm talking about it on public forum. So I got this internship in KCO Bombay, and I have to be honest about it. I was afraid of the city. I had never been to Bombay, and I was like, "Oh, Bombay is a big city.
Mm.
What will I do there?"
Right.
Although I'd been to Hyderabad and I was like, I was studying there, and I had gone there alone. I mean, my parents had not gone when I cleared the CLAT exam and got my admission. All formalities are done by me alone.
Yeah.
So, but I was still worried about how I will commute, and I was worried about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Uh, Ultimately, my friends and my family gave me that courage and said, "No, you can do it. It's okay. It's all right. You go." So I said, "Okay." I booked a hostel. There was a hostel, and it was close to KCO Bombay office. So I had begun the preparations, like 15, 20 days, 1 month in advance.
Yeah.
So I called up that hostel and I said, I would want a room. पैसा तो होता नहीं था पहले. I didn't have that much money as a student. So I said, कि want a room. He said, sharing or single? I said single.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, okay, but if you want, you will have to go down to charge your phone or your laptop. I said, but laptop is necessary. He said, no, no. यहाँ पे ऐसा ही चलता है. I said,
Okay.
okay. I asked for another place. It was damn expensive. It was a
Sure.
single room. Bombay, I mean, real estate, of course, it's pretty expensive.
Right.
So, I thought, yaar, ये तो लग रहा है कि Khaitan and company will go out of my hand.
Mm.
This is getting difficult. And at that point of time, my father was also not too well. So I thought, probably let me just check with the HR if they are okay to shift me to Khaitan. They were like, okay, let me check. There was a very good lady. All thanks to her, she is no longer with Khaitan. I mean, she shifted long back. She was an HR. He said, okay, she was very compassionate, and she said, all right, Sahil, let me check.
Okay.
If you want Delhi, let me check. If there is a vacancy, I will put you in Delhi. I was elated. I was like, wow, this is great, man. I lose one internship. It's okay, let her try. And I mean, I don't know. It was. I think it was God only. It was God's will that I got a call from her, and of course back then or abhi bhi, no HR calls you back. Yeah. I mean, yes, since it was a confirmed internship, probably she thought, ki, okay, it's my responsibility to call him back and tell him that he
Right.
has got it. So
Wow.
she called me. and she said, Sahil, Delhi is pakka. Okay, so but the joining date is the same. I said, oh, it's only a week away. ठीक है, okay, no problem, I will come. So I immediately made my arrangements, and uh, I came to Delhi. So at Delhi, as luck may have it, I was assigned to the dispute resolution team, where Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor, he is a senior partner at Khaitan Company, and Miss Gauri Rasgotra, she was with Khaitan Company for a very long time, and then she went to GWU, uh, US, to start the India Law Center there, and then she came back to India, rejoined Khaitan Company. So at that point of time, when she came back to India,
Yeah.
I was at Khaitan Company. See, again, I mean, the universe works, right? So I was at Khaitan Company. There were a lot of interns, and of course, I was given work. Other interns were also given work. My work product probably was better at that point of time, and they thought, oh, इस लड़के का काम अच्छा है, इसको और काम देते हैं, इसको और काम देते हैं. So I think within a week, I was flooded with a lot of work, and it was my first internship in a actual law firm
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
And there were only, if I remember correctly, in our team, there were only 12 lawyers or 15. I think at best 12 or 15 lawyers back then, in 2009. So, I mean, us time mein there was a joke also going on in interns that Sahil is the head intern, right? So after about 15 days, I was told by the partner to give work to other interns.
Wow.
So I was like, I am not an associate. If I give them work, they will feel bad about it. They were like, no, 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 it's okay. I mean, it's all right. We are telling you to do it. Please do it. So although I, uh, was very, very, afraid at that time, कि यार कैसे होगा? There are few people, I mean, who are intelligent, smart, and people have egos also. So मुझे लग रहा था यार कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि कुछ गलत हो जाए. But still, I played it, nicely back then. Uh, so they liked my work, and I put in a lot of hours. Uh, uh, you know. Uh, since it was a very small team, my work was recognized,
Yeah.
and I was given an extension by the team. So I worked on a variety of matters. Uh, Started with a lot of advisory, and I did a few litigations, including tax litigations, uh, constitutional matters, and I worked on the Satyam scam. The Satyam scam. By then, I think Mahindra had taken over Satyam, and we were working on their advisories on Companies Act violations and audit reports, etc., etc. A lot of things were happening. So I was completely involved there by Miss Gauri Rasgotra, and and Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor involved me in a lot of litigations and a lot of arbitrations. So within a span of about a month, I was involved in a number of matters. So they said it's better to give him an extension.
Mhm.
They asked me, and I was about I had to go to another firm. I will not name the firm, but I had to go to another firm, and then I called up my father and few of my friends, and I asked for their advice. That please advise me. What should I do? They are telling me that we will give you an extension, and the other firm, if I go, I don't know. So my father said, it's okay, don't worry, follow what your heart says.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, you do. I said, okay. But then I called for some of my friends. They were more practical. They were like, are they giving you a job? uh, are they shoring you for a replacement offer? I said, अच्छा ये भी कुछ होता है. Oh, all right. ठीक है. So, I was not open with the partners, but I spoke to my, few of my fellow associates. I was intern, they were associates, and I said, okay, मतलब क्या लगता है, क्या करना चाहिए? So, and I never went with an expectation of a job, honestly. I never went that, oh, मुझे रख लो, मुझे काम करना है, मेरे को नौकरी दे दो. So I asked them कि ऐसा कुछ होता है, पीपीओ होता है कुछ? तो they said हाँ होता है. So मैंने कहा chances क्या हैं? They were like, you have fairly good chances because if you have been asked by the partners to extend your internship, then you should. So I said, but I'll be grateful. I will be grateful if if it is done. They said, but no assurance can be given. Of course. I
Yeah.
said, all right. I said, okay. I mean, someone told me that a known devil is better than an unknown devil. So they said कि on a lighter कि यार देखो कहीं और जाओगे वो कैसा आपको काम कराएगा. Because I told someone कि यार मतलब प्रेशर बहुत है यार,
Hmm.
स्ट्रेस ज्यादा है, काम बहुत है. जैसे यार देखो वहां पे कितना काम होगा, you don't know, and of course we are in it to work, right?
Yeah.
So better you continue. I said all right. And of course the culture at Khaitan Company was pretty good. It
Yeah.
was very people were very compassionate, when it came to work. And even if you had some personal problems, they were very welcoming, if you want to talk to them. So I think that culture still grows and goes on in the firm. Very good people at the firm, right? So I thought, why not, yeah? Of course that devil remark is off, because I knew that people are good here, so
Yeah.
it'll be good. So मैंने continue किया. I
Hmm.
continued at Khaitan Company.
जी.
And then uh, it was, I think, November 2009, and December they extended it. After 15 days, I think Supreme Court closed around 18th or something, right? So 18th के आसपास, right? I think around 20th, 21st, because my internship was to get over at the end of the month. So
Okay.
I said, yeah, I'm going to continue. It's okay, even if there's no work, it's all right. So they said, nahi, nahi, now you go. Now you go.
Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, is it a good sign or a bad sign? So did I do something wrong? So, but of course, there was no indication. But partners were very supportive. They said, no, you go, you give us your CV. We will certainly process it. We'll see what we can do. I went back to my law school, and I was fortunate enough to get a call from my mentor, my partner, Ms. Gauri Rasgotra, on 26th of January 2010.
Wow.
And she called me and she said that, Sahil, it's almost done. It's almost done. I and Sanjeev have done it. So you can join. So I said, okay. Um but when will you join? I said, my session gets over in April end. So I will probably take 15 days or a month off, and then I'll join. She said, no, no, not at all. You have to join right away. I am saying you join right now. So you already have a bachelor's degree. You're doing your master's. I said, nee, I have to do my dissertation. So I think that is important. She said, okay, no problem. You can continue your education. It's all right. I think so. This shows, how supportive they were.
Yeah.
And they of course waited till April. They'd given me an offer well in advance, and it was a very handsome offer. Uh, and I joined on 3rd of May 2010 at Khaitan Company.
That's such a ride. Wow. but
Yeah.
but sir, my next question is, and this is something that us students often keep wondering, and
Hmm.
I think it's important to ask you because you got a job through a PPO, and now
Hmm.
that times have changed drastically, there's a lot more competition. So if in today's day and age a person manages to get an internship at a tier 1 firm, what are the things that they should do which can help them get a PPO? How do you stand out? What are the things that you can do that'll get your work
Hmm.
noticed?
Hmm. Yeah. So I think you know it's a pretty difficult question, honestly,
Yeah.
and no one can get the right answer. But I will make an endeavor to give you a few pointers. because I have seen a lot of interns, interning under my team and my subgroup at Khaitan and Company for last 12 years now. So what I believe is that, when you're an intern at a law firm or a senior counsel's office or an AoR's office, I think you have to behave like an associate. Behave like an associate, because see, there's a lot, there is a very big shift which happens when you're an intern and when you're an associate, and that's called responsibility, right? If you are ready to take responsibility for whatever is coming your way, then I think it is important, it becomes what do you say, uh, there's a certainty that you will excel.
Yeah.
So I think responsibility is something which is very important. If you work with responsibility and you feel that, okay, I am an associate, right, and I have to give that work product which is, it has to be equivalent to an associate, then
Yeah.
I think half of the battle is won, right? Second is, of course, everybody tells ki yaar hard work karo, lambe ghante lagao, aur ye sari, I mean, all of these everybody says, right?
Right.
But the only thing is that what we expect from any lawyer, rather, who's working with us, my teammates, associates, senior associates, principal associates, right, we expect a work product which is so to say, well researched, right, and which on which you don't have to put much of an effort in a way,
Yeah.
because teamwork is all about that. If one person has to run the ship, then he will do it alone, right? But ultimately, whether how far he will go, you never know.
Yeah.
With a team, you will go quite far, isn't it? So I think it's very important. And in litigation, many a times dispute resolution, what happens is that you're having, say, 10 matters, right? And suppose I am stuck in 5 matters, but other 5 matters are left out, but there is an urgent deliverable. What do we do? Will they wait for the partner to get free from those 5 matters? A partner who has worked, suppose, for 12 hours,
Yeah.
or 16 hours or 18 hours a day, and then he is supposed to work on another thing, right? Or it can happen with a principal associate or a senior associate also. So therefore, I think complementing each other is very important, and where the interns can fill any of these gaps, right, I think nothing like it. And the most important thing which of course we expect from interns is the research and analytical skills. Research has to be very, very thorough, and the analytical skill has to be very, very important, because law is nothing but logic.
Yeah.
And if you are able to apply that logic and analyze the facts, then I think you have become a successful lawyer already.
Wow. That's great advice. Another question I have, and that's connected to the issue of jobs and all. Uh,
Hmm.
Nowadays, there's a perception that top law firms tend to hire only from certain elite law schools, national law schools, and students who are not from these law schools often don't even land an internship at tier one
Hmm.
firms. And so, given the fact that you yourself came from Punjab University, uh,
Hmm.
what is your take on this? Is that true that do firms prefer people who are from top NLUs, or can anyone get a foot inside and rise to the level of a partner as you have?
Uh, See, I think that's a tricky one. Yeah. So let me put it this way. There are many examples where people from non-national law school background have excelled and have become, where they are today. Uh, Rather, I would say many of the judges of the Delhi High Court, I mean, are from, say, law fac, or someplace else,
Right.
and not they're not from the national law schools, because yeah, national law school is a, so to say, a recent phenomenon, if we look at judiciary's perspective, right?
Right.
So I think there are a lot many examples, And I don't believe that that non-national law school students they cannot do equivalent to a national law school student. I strongly believe that merit is always rewarded in any setup, and if that is not the case, then that organization will not grow. You know, putting it another way, that a non-national law school student would have a lot of problems in landing up a good internship. Yes, for sure. I mean, I cannot deny that fact. Facts speak for themselves. So I think there is a difference in parity between these law schools. But see, that's the whole point, Sarthak. That the a system is made, right? I mean, it's like the IITs and say other colleges. It's like IIMs and other colleges, right? So the quality of education and the perception that high quality of students would be uh, produced by these institutions, I think that's what matters. And then the any institution would want to hire good talent, right? And if that talent, I mean, they know that, oh, all right, I mean, this is the place where I'll get good talent, then they will go to that place, you know. So I think it's a system which has been created where the big firms, they go to uh, national law schools, and they get ready talent, right? I mean it's like us going to different places and buying our daily use items, or
Right.
rather, going to one place at a supermarket where we get everything, isn't it? So I think probably my comparison is bad, but it's simplifying things,
Yeah.
right? So I think I don't see that there is any challenge in hiring a non-national law school student. But I rather I have seen in Khaitan and Company. I mean, if we are aware of any talent who is from a national law school, not from a national law school. I mean, there's no distinction or categorization like that. We are actually asked to share those CVs, if at all, someone approaches us and says that I want to work, and we know that that person is brilliant, then we certainly share those CVs. If any person lands up an internship who's a non-national law school and is good, then our feedback has to be that that person is good, and he or she should be considered for a PPO,
Right.
or a second internship, because we give a second internship to people who are very good and whom we think that they can be taken,
Right.
absorbed if possible, given the exigencies of COVID these days. Of course, I mean, there are some issues, but these are there. So I think, just to answer your question in a very short sentence, that there is no discrimination per se. There is only a difference in the opportunity which a student gets. I think I'll put it that way. You
Right.
have to create that opportunity, Sarthak, ultimately.
Very well said, sir. I agree with you. Moving on, sir, I'd like to circle back to something very interesting you said earlier, and I want to talk about that. You said that,
Hmm.
on many days, a partner at a firm might be working for 12, 16 hours a day. And
Hmm.
that might only increase moving forward. I mean, for an associated, the working hours can be even more grueling. Can you take us through the day in the life of a law firm partner at a tier one firm and tell us what are the things that you do? How does your day look like? And what are the kind of things that keep you occupied?
Yeah. So, so again, this question is divided into two parts, right?
Sure.
One is the pre-COVID era, and one is the post-COVID era. So I have to admit that life post-COVID had some positives to it. You just had to wear say your shirt, your band, and your jacket, and probably you're in your shorts, and you could sit and do all your hearings, you know, sitting on the table. So I think those were the positives, and you could get up whenever you want. You could go out, you could eat, take breaks, small breaks, have more family time.
Yeah.
I think post-COVID era was positive in that sense. But yeah, negativity was that that you are not able to meet people physically, and of course you are not able to go to court. Uh, that's a very big negative according to me, and that you when you argue in front of a judge physically, I think it is much better. You are able to articulate well, and even if we are briefing seniors, I mean, many of the cases we brief seniors, there we can assist the senior properly. So that becomes very challenging many a times when in the COVID era.
Right.
Pre-COVID, of course, I mean, answering your question, that what a day used to look like.
Yeah.
uh, See, I mean, unlike the general perception that law firm mein to life is hell and all of that, it's not like. It actually depends on you. How you want to manage your team, and how well you want to maintain that, the balance. But yes, it is challenging. It is very challenging. If you talk about me, I mean, my week, I mean, every day of the week is different. I would not say that it's like every day I used to go to court, or many a times it used to happen that in a week we used to go to court only 4 days,
Right.
and for 3 days we were not in court. It was largely because our practice was is actually uh, spread across arbitrations, litigation right now. So I think arbitration and litigation mein, there is a huge difference, that courts have to sit every day and you have to wait for your matter when you go to court. And if it is passed over, or if the item has not reached, then you have to wait.
Right.
And if you are in two courts, then your entire day is locked up.
Yeah.
uh, but in an arbitration, that it is going to be at a particular time, and that arbitration, only one matter is going to be taken up. So I think that's something which is actually positive for a dispute resolution lawyer who does arbitration and litigation, where he gets that dedicated time for arbitration. But the problem comes when there are a lot of litigation matters,
Right.
and you have arbitrations also in the middle. So, and litigation takes up your time. From morning, you get up at say 7:30, and you probably finish your morning calls, one or two, you answer your emails. Although that's a very bad habit, I would say. First thing, you should not do that. But you finish that, you have your breakfast, get ready, etc., etc., and then you rush to office or to court, depending on where your matter is. And if you are in the, say, Supreme Court, then you go to Supreme Court, finish your matter. If the matter is passed over, and if Delhi High Court is reaching, you go to Delhi High Court. This is the pre-COVID era. After COVID, so we have appeared across forums. I mean, we have crossed all limits. So no high courts are left. Wherever virtual was possible, we have appeared,
Wow.
on all forums. But yeah, I mean, the point is that pre-COVID era, of course, a day used to look like this: that you get up, you get ready, you rush to either office, Supreme Court, High Court, right, or any other forums, right? And then there used to be firefighting. If you have to argue a matter, then you have to prepare on your own. The entire night is spent on that, and there is that feeling that what will happen in the matter. And if you are briefing a senior, you are thinking, oh, everybody should reach and the matter should get well and everything. Everything is in place.
Right.
Judgments are okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to fight is in place. So I think all those things are there when you are in a litigation. I think there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So if say suppose by 4:30, you get free and then you rush to office, you read up your subsequent DECA files, or if there are arbitrations, you do that, right? And then the next day, the same thing is done.
Yeah.
So largely, uh, any given point of time in a week, 2 days मतलब largely have been spent कि भाई होना है all nighter होना है मतलब it has to be a long night. All
Wow.
nighter नहीं तो long night तो होना ही है. If not an all nighter, it has to be a long night. So week में 2 दिन ऐसा होता था. But now I think with the expansion of teams, with more people coming on board, work also increasing, but people taking responsibility, etc. I think it is getting better
Yeah.
because now you can focus, you can do more work in less amount of time, and with division of work, I think it becomes better. Efficiency increases.
Right. Thanks for that answer. Because now, so we're running out of time, I'll quickly come to the final set of questions. And
Okay.
because I mean, I'd love to go on, but I must stop at some point in time and let you do other things in life also.
Yeah, sure. No, it's a pleasure. I mean, to speak with you, Sarthak. Yeah,
Thank you. That's
go
that's
ahead.
very kind of you, sir. But coming to the next question, is your choice of becoming also an advocate on record? Can you talk to me about that? Because in my experience, I've only seen litigators choosing to
Hmm.
appear for the exam and becoming AORs. What drove
Hmm.
you to also become an AOR while being in a law firm?
Hmm. So I mean, let me put it this way, that when I was exposed to Supreme Court litigation, I was, mesmerized by the way the Supreme Court functions and the lawyers argue. I
Yeah.
mean, the big wigs. I mean, I was lucky enough to brief when I started. I was lucky enough to brief the likes of Mr. Salve, Dr. Singhvi. Of course, now we brief most of the senior advocates, but that was my first experience when I joined the profession. And being in Khaitan and Company, Khaitan and Company actually, apart from being a full service law firm, it also had a huge practice as an AOR firm, as
Oh,
an
okay.
advocate firm. Yeah. So we have a KCO AOR firm which files in the name of for our clients before the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So and of course, we have partners who are partners of the Khaitan Co AOR. So that was one. Second, that I also had interactions with the number of advocate on records of the Supreme Court. When I used to go to Supreme Court, I had a few friends who were working with AORs and who were working with senior advocates. So many of the senior advocates, they were AORs. Yeah, prior to becoming a senior advocate, I mean, before getting their gowns. So I was actually wanting to uh, you know uh, give this exam uh, because I was actually mesmerized by the practice of Supreme Court. One.
Right.
Second, I wanted to challenge myself actually. When I remember when I planned to give this exam, you have to do that 4+1 year, right? That 1 year training, and the 5 years total, and then you have to enroll, and then you have to give the exam. I remember that there was a matter going on in Karnataka, Dharwad. There was a
Okay.
bench of the High Court there. So I was uh, preparing for my AoR exam, and I got a call from the client, and he said that, I want you to file this rate there. I said, oh, but I have this AoR exam in June, and it's holiday. It's going to be holidays here. I mean, Supreme Court is already shut. High Court is going to get shut. And I said, Dharwad, I don't know whether it's functioning. So I said, okay, let me check. I did that. So, I got good 7 days, I think, 7 or 8 days. And, thanks to many of my friends who gave me, a bunch of, materials, and I attended a few lectures, which I missed. I mean, my friends gave me notes. So I was lucky enough to do that. But I think at that point in time, I thought, कि यार मैं AOR क्यों कर रहा हूँ? Why am I doing it, यार? Let's leave it, यार. But then I thought ki, it's challenging. I always wanted to give the judiciary examination. I always wanted to do civil services, but I got stuck into this law firm job. So I thought it's better to challenge myself. And at that point of time, I was married and I had a kid who was running around the house and wouldn't let me study. But thanks to my wife, I mean, those 7 8 days, they supported me very much, and I put my 100% effort. I said, if I can work for 16 hours, 18 hours, or 20 hours a day, I can do this also probably. So that was a challenge, and let me tell you, I mean, it was very difficult. Those 15 days were very difficult. At one point, I thought that I should get up and leave the exam
Wow.
because I was so tired of writing. The habit of writing went away,
Sure.
and you type these days.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, ki rather than getting into this, yaro, what will happen? It's okay. Let me just leave it. So I think the second reason was to challenge myself, and of course, third was that Khaitan Co AOR also has a AOR firm, so it would be an added feature, so to say, to my career progression, and it will certainly help me. And many of my friends and my my father's friends and lot many people wanted, they asked me that, can you file in the Supreme Court? They always used to ask me. I mean, so I was like, no, but I can file, it's okay. I mean, there is Khaitan Co AOR, I can file in their name. They're like, no, can you file? So I said, no, I can't file. So I said, okay, I mean, I will also give this exam. If I clear it, it's all right. So, but I mean, again, by God's grace, and I got a lot of support from everybody, from my family, from my friends, who supported me, and then, of course, I cleared the exam in my first attempt.
Wow, that's wonderful. And now, sir, I'll quickly come to the final question because I've already taken up an hour of your time. So, sir, you've had a career spanning almost, I mean, over a decade now, and you've been an associate, senior associate, principal associate, partner, you're an advocate on record. Surely your achievements are many, but would you like to share some mistakes that you think you made in your career and you feel that the younger students who are going to become new lawyers should avoid?
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, so we have to become all preachy now.
Sorry to put you in that spot.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think the mistakes, I would say, are not many, but yes, I would love to advise people, the students especially, that they should start from the bottom. By the bottom, I mean to say that the real practice actually starts from the lower courts, the the lower, the say civil court, or the district courts, the criminal, civil, wherever, whatever you're interested in. And I think even if you don't have an interest right now, I think you should go and intern at the lowest level first, because that's where your foundation is going to be built.
Yeah.
And there, I used to uh, sit with my father, and sometimes he used to tell me that, Sahil, if you want to learn, you will not learn a lot of things from me verbally. You will learn a lot of things by watching me, by watching other lawyers, by
Yeah.
watching the judges. And the second best teacher would be my clerk. So my clerk will
Wow.
teach you more than anybody else can teach you, right? So that was his wisdom. Of course, he shared with me that shuru karna hai, to you have to start from the grassroots level. And then I think so. Therefore, it becomes important when law schools say that you have to get an internship in the NGO first, and then
Yeah.
you go to a law firm, and then this, then that. I mean, they have that plan. But I think it's important to tell them that please intern at the lowest level of the courts, then you go to the district court, then you go to the high court, and then you go to the Supreme Court, because I think all those experiences will help you in some way or the other, and then you
Right.
will certainly find your perfect spot, whatever you want to do, if you are interested in litigation. Then otherwise, I think if you're interested in corporate, then of course, law firms are the best bet.
Right, indeed. And with that, sir, I think we can come to an end of today's conversation. Thank you so very much for taking time out and speaking with me. I would have loved to, continue talking, but maybe there'll be a part two of this conversation at a future date. Who knows?
Sure, sure, certainly. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I think this is very informative for a lot many people, for students as well. And given the the inhibitions, and given the tight schedules that people have, say who are established in their practices, I think this is a very good forum
Yeah.
for people who can give it back to the society, and also to students, because we of course don't get these many opportunities to speak to students one on one these days. So thanks
Right.
to you, Sarthak.
No,
Thanks.
no. Thank you so much.